In a quiet suburban home, a golden retriever named Max was known for one thing: his profound laziness. His family, the Millers, often joked that their dog was more of a rug than a retriever. While other dogs chased balls and greeted visitors with frantic barks, Max would simply lift an eyelid, sigh, and return to his slumber. He was gentle, he was loving, but he was undeniably inactive. This changed on the day the Millers moved into their new house. It was a beautiful, older home, a place they dreamed of filling with laughter and memories. But for Max, it was a place of unease. From the first day, he chose a single spot in the living room, right over an old dark-stained floorboard, and refused to move. Not for food, not for water, not for his favorite squeaky toy. He just lay there, a golden statue of stubbornness. At first, the Millers found it amusing. "He's claimed his throne," Mr. Miller would say. But days turned into a week, and their amusement soured into frustration, then into genuine concern. Max was losing weight. His usually bright eyes were dull with a strange, unwavering focus on the floor beneath him. The tension in the house grew thick. One evening, Mrs. Miller knelt beside him, her voice soft with worry. "What is it, boy? What's wrong?" She tried to coax him up with a piece of chicken. He turned his head away. Mr. Miller tried to attach his leash for a walk. Max wouldn't budge. Finally, in a moment of desperation, Mr. Miller tried to physically lift the 70-pound dog. But something unthinkable happened. Max, the dog who had never shown a flicker of aggression in his life, let out a low, rumbling growl. It wasn't a warning to his owner. It was a desperate plea. His eyes were locked on the floor, filled not with anger, but with a profound, urgent fear. The growl silenced the room. The Millers stared at their dog, then at each other, and finally, at the patch of floor he was guarding so fiercely. A cold dread washed over Mr. Miller. He noticed for the first time that Max wasn't just lying there. He was pressing his body down, as if trying to smother something. Kneeling down, he put his ear to the wood, but heard nothing. He sniffed, but only smelled old varnish and dog fur. "This is crazy," he muttered, but his wife's pale face told him they had to know. "Get the crowbar from the garage," she whispered. With a heavy heart, Mr. Miller wedged the crowbar under the edge of the floorboard. It groaned in protest. Max whined, a high-pitched, anxious sound, but didn't move. With one final heave, the board splintered and came loose. A faint, almost imperceptible hissing sound escaped from the darkness below, accompanied by a sickly sweet smell that instantly made them feel dizzy. It was a gas leak. Not a small one, but a steady, silent flow from a corroded pipe, likely decades old. It had been seeping into the house, pooling in the crawl space, concentrating right beneath the living room. The gas company technician who arrived later was pale-faced and trembling. He told them that the concentration of gas was so high that a single spark, from a light switch, from static electricity, from the furnace kicking on, would have ignited the entire house. It wouldn't have been a fire, it would have been an explosion. Instantaneous and unsurvivable. The Millers stood in their yard, wrapped in blankets, staring at the house that had almost become their tomb. And in the middle of the lawn, finally away from his spot, was Max. He was drinking water, his tail giving a weak but steady thump, thump, thump against the grass. He hadn't been lazy, he hadn't been stubborn, he had sensed the poison leaking into their home. He couldn't bark about it, he couldn't lead them away. So he did the only thing he could think of. He lay on top of the source, using the weight of his own body as a desperate, silent seal, a living shield against the danger nobody else could see. He had been willing to sacrifice himself to give his family a few more hours, a few more minutes. That night, Max didn't sleep on the floor. He slept in the master bed, curled between the two people whose lives he had saved. They no longer saw a lazy dog. They saw a hero, a guardian whose silent, stubborn love had been their salvation. Sometimes, stillness is the loudest warning, and the deepest loyalty is shown not in action, but in a quiet, unwavering presence.